Hello and welcome to another Coach Gomez video recording. This one will be about love, my love in general, and trying to link like my own past to my past history of being in relationships with men. Starting off by saying that, of course, I realize and I know and I accept that I may have some daddy issues, stemming forth from the fact that I do not know who that dude is. Um, so this not knowing has always left me with the possibility of being left behind, not being chosen, not being the one loved, not being the one picked, not being the one selected, always being the one easily to leave behind. Um, and of course, it's always easier to walk walk away from a relationship being a man if you're dealing with a woman that has no children or none of your children. Um, but nevertheless, the fact that I had gone on my entire life, my almost entire grown-up life, without a daddy figure around, never made me desperate to have a man. It never, I never was like, okay, so the first best next thing that comes to my doorstep will be my husband, regardless. I would still uphold certain norms, certain rules, certain levels of respect that a man had to show and prove towards me, to show me that he was deserving of my love. I myself have chosen to walk away from some of my relationships because I felt that the relationships had either stranded or met a dead end, or there was no building a future on top of that. There was no foundation. There was never a sense of me looking at my partner and having that I want to be your wife sensation. I would love for you to ask me to marry you. I would love to have or bear your children. I have yet to encounter a man that wakes up all of those sleeping feelings inside of me. So, and it's not that I don't want a relationship. Of course, everybody longs for companionship, and I'm I don't long to be in a marriage. I don't have to be married. I don't have to um, move into my partner's house. The past years, I've finally taken up some time in getting to know me, getting to know who Neuza was. Um, and I found out that I am a beautiful person who who lives and demands not a lot out of life, who loves easily, who cares easily, and who has learned to choose more easily for herself than being a slave towards others. And me putting all this care back into myself, I realized that I am a strong woman to be having having survived all of my past crap, um, dealing with hospitalizations, dealing with illness, dealing with chronic illnesses, um, dealing with my very rough past, my childhood, and I survived all of it. I rose above all of it, and the, now I see the immense strength it must have taken um, to just go through that and be well at the end of the day and accept myself at the end of the day and accept the path of the life that I had been given to walk or the life I had chosen to walk. I mean, at the end of the day, they're all my decisions. I mean, when I was younger and still living under the roof of my mother's house, of course, there's a lot that's out of your hands, out of your control. But once I met that freedom, well, met that freedom, she basically kicked me out of the house. Once I met that moment of wait, but now I get to decide for myself what I do from now on. Now I get to decide if I walk on the street or if I'm gonna walk on the sidewalk. Maybe I'm just gonna take a detour and walk through the park instead and enjoy the scenery while I'm living my life. And that gave me more options than the options I had had. But even in finding myself being a loving person and quite a forgiving person until I reach um, my nerves ends, so to speak, because I do cut people off. I do end friendships that I find undeserving. I do say my piece and then move on and be content with what I have because I've never had relationships or friendships to complete me. Um, they were all just pure entertainment. And if the entertainment only turns into drama, and I don't like drama that much, um, I would just switch the channel. And I haven't had any cable up in the house for years now, meaning that I'm not even switching channels. I'm not even checking to see what types of friendships I could go out and build. I build numerous friendships already, and it's fine by me. I can't even fathom the energy it would take me, the amount of stress it would take me to step into a new friendship, to just have somebody to try and trust and share all your deepest secrets with. I'm not sure I will be able to do that. Um, and this brings me to relationships with men in partnering up in being more than just a platonic extension of my being, another experience of my being. Um, the more I think about stepping into a relationship now, the more uh, I find it unsettling because I've lived in this freedom for the past 3 years, this freedom of just being. And I'm not even talking about sexual freedom because I don't do much of that either. I only make love when I feel love, and mostly when I feel love, it's only for one person, and I haven't had that a person to love lately. um, so that just goes into a drawer, and I use that energy creatively. I rhyme, I write my stories, I sit and I think about my life and how I'm gonna take this further up the path where I'm walking, how to get that career going, because that's basically what my mind only can think about right now is how are we going to get this career going. I have so much on the line right now, and I have zero tolerance and zero time and zero energy to be dealing with people's broken relationships, with people who broke off of relationships, or they're trying to get with me, but there's too much drama, there's too much to deal with first, and I don't have time for all of the extras. I barely have time to get to know somebody for real let alone having to sift through all the stories and the he said this and the she said that and please believe me's and I'm so sorry's and I don't have time for that really. I try to care, but at the end of the day I'm like, yo, choose a path and walk on it and stop being so uncertain about what it is that you want to do because you're making me uncomfortable, you know? You're making me uncomfortable. And I was comforted. I was in a place of comfort by myself. I was in a place of calm, of serenity, of peace, of love, of self love, of being attentive towards myself. And now, like certain situations will drive you to start expecting that from other people because they have expressed wanting to be with you. But I was doing me fine. I was having a blast with myself being Nilza. And now I wake up to drama messages, um, baby mothers texting me. And I'm like, I'm not even there, girl. I'm not even where you think I want to be. I'm just sitting this one out, just like I'm not trying to do anything. I haven't done anything other than existing. Um, I can't stand or deal with other people's relationship dramas that once they find something wrong, they'll go to the so-called outside person and blame them for everything. But somebody inside of your house, inside of your relationship, invited that person in. Um, think about under what pretenses that person walked in, how long that person has been there, and maybe think about your own actions and what you have done in the meanwhile, because there's this situation going on now where I've been dealing with this dude for like 16, maybe a little over, maybe a little under 16 months. We met on the strangest way. We met once, like about 2 years ago. And there was this master class going on, and he was there, and I was there, my whole class was there, and I had to go pee. So I walk to the door, and go pee, and nothing weird happened for me in that sense that I had to think anything about it. But when I walked back into the room, I opened the door, and the whole audience, like all of the fellow students, like plus 40, 50 people in that room looking at me, gasping at me like, oh my God. And I was like looking down at my clothes like, do I have toilet paper on my shoe? Is something sticking out? Like, did I forget to pull my dress down? Right? Is my pantyhose torn? Something. I was like, oh my God, is there something wrong with me? Therefore, everybody's looking at me like weird. And I thought nothing too much of it, so I walked back to the back row where I was sitting, like all the way up in the back. Um, and one of the girls came up to me. I was like, "Oh, yo, Auntie Nelson, oh my God, you never believe what just happened, and this and that and that and this just happened." And I was like, "What?" I hadn't even noticed. Like somebody was speaking, and as I walked up to the door, my appearance or my being, my energy, whatever, like stopped that person in his tracks, and you couldn't utter another word. He was like yabba 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 dabba dabba yabba dabba dabba like this, and that's not like what he's supposed to do. Um, so that happened, and it stayed there because at that in those days, I wasn't even like noticing the guy. I was there by invitation. We all had to go, part of our class. Um, and so I didn't think much of it. I had just gone through a breakup that was dealing with like unworldly things. Like that year, 2015 was like off the charts, like off the charts, like way off the charts. So that was like the scene that didn't really do much for me at that moment. And then months later, like we find out that okay, so we're gonna get a master class on location at the place where we go do our writing every week. And turns out it was that dude. He was gonna be like the assistant to our coach. And so we got to talking, and I it didn't all set like really straight with me from the beginning. So like the first thing I did was telltale. I walked up to my coach and was like, "Yo, coach, I'm dealing with this dude, and he's been trying to talk to me, and I don't know what to do." And he became the coach, and I'm gonna have to see him every week. So I was kind of a little bit like, "What does this guy want?" And my coach at that time had told me like, "Yo, be calm and don't worry too much about it," because he had heard certain more ladies who were taking part in the same workshop in different cities had mentioned the same thing about the same guy. So like from day one, I was really like, no, this guy cannot be trusted. And then he just kept on talking to me, kept on talking to me, and I just one day decided like, yo, if you're planning like if your intent is to see me more often or try and see me like you're gonna have to wait until we're done with the coaching. I can't have you be my coach every Monday and have like that hierarchy in play where you have something to say over me and that you can like get to make me feel uncomfortable in any way. I wasn't having that. I was not having that. And so, well, he agreed to it and we just stayed friends. He was just my coach and we never kissed, we never hugged, nothing ever happened. We never went out. I never invited him to my house. He was just my coach, and whatever he was feeling was whatever he was feeling. Whatever he felt comfortable in doing, he would take my pictures and blur like the rest of the group out and actually put them on Instagram so like the whole world could see he took that picture of me and blurring the rest of the class out like goddess, blah blah blah. So it was like obvious he wasn't like hiding me. Like he would take pictures of me randomly during class and I wouldn't even know about it. He would go out of the country and have his projects and he would call me. Like he would Skype me like 6 7 times a day just to see what I was doing, just FaceTiming, just to look at me, and he could just look at me and stare, and I could be doing other things. And that was that. We did have like an intimate relationship spiritually wise. It never became a physical one because and that was a good reason for that. I'm good at waiting. I'm good at holding out. I'm good at waiting for the right time and for the right moment. And when all is well, then we'll see what. But by the time we got to our last performance, our group we were working towards the last performance. That's why he was called in to assist and help with production. And And that was like gonna be the day, like the final day, like, yo, after this day, we can chill, we can hang out, we can get to know each other, we can talk more, we can meet up and see where this is going. And the day comes around, and we all show up there, and um, other he also was late, so I was already pissed about that. I had the whole group like nagging at my head because the original coach had a show somewhere else. So it was going to be our group and the assistant coach. And I had like taken over the leadership for that day so that that day would, flow as smooth as possible. Like we had like 12 performers in a group to perform that day. And we were all kind of excited. It was a big hall and it was like a crowded place and a well-known location. So we were all like psyched up and excited. um, and then we were talking, and I had like already expressed like my anger towards him that he was like almost 2 hours late. So we did the run through by ourselves. I had difficulty explaining the technical staff like what it was that we needed because that was not my job. Um, it was his job. So I wasn't really happy about that. And then when like maybe half an hour to 20 minutes before the performance, this dude he sits he sits down next to me. We're outside smoking. And all of a sudden he's like, yeah, remember that ex-girlfriend I told you about? The one we were like I was in a budding relationship with, and it didn't work out because it turned out she was too controlling, and she called me when I was in the States, and I haven't spoken to her in 3 months. And those 3 months were like the only thing I heard. And I was like, okay, and then she called you. And I was sitting like this. And I just turned my head and I said, am I supposed to congratulate you now, Daddy? And he turned over and looked at me like shocked, like, like it was gonna say, how did you know? I'm like, yeah, it's put one and one together. Like if your ex-girlfriend calls you for the first time after 3 months of you not speaking to her, the 3 months gave it away. And that's a dead giveaway for every woman. If you've been pregnant or not, you know that the 3 months is a dead giveaway. If you get a call after 3 months and you haven't spoken to your ex-girlfriend, I mean you're pregnant. But that means that a month before that, they were still having sex. Cha-ching! All the while he was like trying to wait. He was still waiting, and that's why I love my procrastination in love that much, because it's just like this sense of no, there's something up, and I need to know what is up before I say yes to you. Before I say yes, you can take me out on a date. Yes, you can take me out for coffee. Yes, let's go see a movie. Yes, let's go have a walk outside. Let's talk about what we're gonna do about this love. And I didn't do it. I insisted that let's wait till the timing is right. Then we have less hovering of people around us because you don't want to be viewed upon outside of us. I didn't want to be viewed upon as like the one being favorited by the coach or the assistant coach. So therefore, I would get more spotlight on me, whatever. I wasn't into any of that. So I stopped that like from the get go. So that was like that was like my my go-to plan. Like I'm not gonna do anything, make up any moves with this guy until I'm sure that it's safe for me to love him and safe for me to be with him, safe for me to see what this can be. Um, so yeah, so she turned out pregnant, and like one of the first questions were if I would still mind being involved with him, even though the baby was coming, because she had made clear that she was not gonna kill the baby. It sounds so harsh, though. Kill the baby, abort the baby, or abort the pregnancy plan, because in his mind they had like broken up, and um, I don't know, yeah, in his mind, or at least that was what he was trying to tell me. I just had a flash, like, wait, maybe they've been living together all this time. Like, anyhow, so after that day, I told him, no, absolutely not. I'm not gonna deal with this. I'm not gonna deal with your baby mom. I'm not gonna deal with you having a new baby born on the way, and being trying to be like the new girlfriend while your old girlfriend had just is carrying your baby. Like, you're asking me that? And because like I started the story, I have daddy issues. I don't know who my real dad is. That's a lie. My mom told me it used to be, then it didn't, then it turned out to be my dad, and then we never turned out to have that conversation. And at the end of the day, I was like, okay, fuck y'all. But that makes me feel even more for the children involved in these types of relationships. That's why I chose to walk away. I was like, no, you're gonna have to be a father to that child. That father's gonna want to know who, and I don't want to be the one later like, oh, you're the one who stole daddy away from mommy. I didn't want to be that person. Um, I dealt with a lot of sadness for my father growing up, and I cannot imagine putting a child through that. Even it's, I mean, even more so because I have absolutely no control over what happens. Um, I have completely no control over what happens. But then, yeah. So, I'm not trying to make a long story, but it looks like it's going to be a long story. Well, a lot of things like that are there's a lot of drama taking place right now. Um, I don't know actually how to deal with this because, of course, I'm going to hear something from him. And then she she texted me this morning, like with a whole bunch of, and I'm like, I don't even want to be in this mess. So I mean, people are free to go, you know. I'm not sticking anybody to me. I'm not pulling any magic. I'm not trying to get impregnated by anyone. If he wants to be with her, he'd be with her. If he wants to be with me, he'd be with me. He's not with me. So, um, only I know if I walk out like now, going from his past decisions, I don't know what would happen. I don't know if I'm supposed to be with him. If it was all already in the cards and like he had to go through this karmic relationship again, where he obviously chose the wrong again, and now he's dealing with his mess. So now he's out there in Curacao working for his baby's mother, ex-girlfriend, ex-fiance. And this morning he was like, "Yeah, I need to talk to you ASAP." And then he called and told me that she had kicked him out of his house, out of her house. But they're both in another country now. Uh, and it wasn't even the fact that I thought that it was strange. It was more, I was more like, why are you surprised? Why are you surprised in the first place that she broke up with you? Why did she just break up with you now when you've been telling me that y'all broke up weeks ago? And there's no conversation and there's no talking in between, but how come you're so surprised? So that's the only thing that's like, hmm, it shouldn't surprise you. You're in love with another woman, and she knows, and she's supposed to know from the start. I don't know. It's all weird. And the rain is it's raining down on my summer parade. It's been raining so much lately. I just can't. So I'm really baffled. Like, why are you so sad all of a sudden? Why are you so, oh, I need to find me a house? Yeah, but you were already, from what you told me, looking for another house. So how come this all of a sudden turns out to be so dramatic and drastic when you were supposed to leave that house? And now you tell me that, yeah, of course you didn't tell her about me because what? When were you gonna tell her? When were you gonna tell her? Like, did you expect me to say when you come back, come and live with me? No, no, I don't believe you like that. Uh-huh. So, um, I told him, yo, I'm trying to love you, but this shit's making it hard. Like, you're telling me she's not your fiance, and she keeps texting me back, like, can you please not call my husband? Like, I'm not calling your husband, honey. He calls me 10 times a day. You know, I can show you my call logs. I can show you on all the text messages he sends me. I'm not the one calling your husband. So, and if your husband is so untrustworthy, how come you want him? How come you would want a guy who jumps highs and lows to lie to you? You still trying to be with the nigga? I don't. I don't understand. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the one viewing things like the wrong way. I don't feel like if I would step out now, I would have lost anything. I haven't had anything. I don't have anything. I'm not holding on to anything that I could possibly let go. So I have either one choice: cut off all ties and be like, this is too much scrap for me. I don't understand how come you're so surprised she left you. She was supposed to leave you. You were supposed to leave that house, and you're not living in with me. I'm not having that. I can't give you that much of a gift, that great of a gift. to come and live with me, and you're yet to come buy me a coffee, you know? So love is love is like it's crap though sometimes. Um, I was not trying to get like in between like other people's relationships. What's a woman to do when a man steps up to her and say, "Yo, you're the love of my life. I want to be with only you." Blah 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 blah. Do I call the ex-girlfriend? Yo, your man just told me this. What about him? How am I supposed to believe? She's gonna tell me anything that she would like to say in hopes that that will drive me away from him, and he's gonna say the exact thing, hoping that I won't heed to whatever she says. He's gonna say the exact opposite, of course. And I'm here like stuck in this relationship. Like I don't want to be in. I don't want to be the homewrecker. I don't want to be introduced to his future friends, to my new future friends, being the homewrecker. I don't want to. I don't want to be that girl. I don't want to be that girl that stole daddy away from mommy. I don't want to be that woman. I don't want to be that. I don't want to be made that. My love is too pure for that. I can't even say I love him right now because I feel like really offended. The most I feel is offended right now. I feel offended. I feel disrespected. I you tried to scream at me when I started laughing. Like I can only laugh about this now. Like he's like, yeah, you can laugh about this all you want, but I'm the one here and I'm not knowing how to. Yeah, but you were cool with everything yesterday. We're living in with your ex. You didn't mind that. Like now, because you got yourself in a rut. Now everybody's got to be like Captain Savior. I'm not gonna save you. You put yourself in this mess. I didn't ask you to to ask her for her hand in marriage. I didn't ask you to go and get her pregnant whilst you were not invested in a future with her. Should have kept your dick to yourself. It's easy. But for some men, it does prove hard. But I'm not gonna have you use me as a, as like the final ends and means of ending this relationship. And then once you're done and well with that, I don't know how much I'm gonna be able to trust you because you just did that to your baby mama. What are you gonna do to me? You know? So, well, that's my take on it. On love and how having daddy issues really does not mean that every woman that has a missing father in her life is gonna take the word or the trust of any man uh, as simple as that. You're actually gonna have to put in work if you want me, because I know what I'm worth. I didn't need a father to find out what I'm worth. I found out what I'm worth. And all along I did it without a father, and I did it without the presence of my mother. So I know what I'm made of. I'm made of stardust. I'm made of stardust, love. I'm made of stardust. I belong to this world, and I'm here. So I was supposed to be here. And if I'm supposed to be here, I'm, I might be worth something. And I'm not looking for nobody's seconds in love. I want my own love to happen. And I can see very well the people I can and cannot trust. And believe me, I know who I cannot trust. At the end of the day, when all the players starts playing games, us girls should just do the same. Be well, be loved. Love you guys.